Okay, guys, you guys are doing some homework with me today. You're gonna do an exercise with me, and I need a friend, and so you're my friend to do this with. This is kind of the continuation with what I'm dealing with personally, the hurdle that I'm dealing with personally with my vertical sleeve gastrectomy, and then possibly having to do a correction, a Roux-en-Y, and then I'm getting like feedback now from the doctors, and things are getting like really, really real. And I just talked to my coach. I work with, I guess you could call her a life coach. You could call her kind of almost like a therapist, but after this last call that I had with my surgeon, I called her up and was like, I just need some help like navigating all of this. And we worked together to build a roadmap. And I said, okay, I'm going to hang up and I'm going to do this. And I'm gonna do this with you guys. So, but I think that this video pertains to anybody who likes control and who tends to sometimes get a little overwhelmed. And I think with my ADHD, there's so many thoughts, and honestly, I haven't taken my medication today. I probably should do that. But you know, with ADHD, you forget to take your meds. But there's so many thoughts, and I tend to do a lot of things at the same time. And sometimes I get paralyzed with the anxiety of all the things that are running through my mind that I just like want to do nothing at all. And then nothing happens. And with this procedure, this is so overwhelming. There's so much of me that just wants to ignore it. And I've ignored this problem, this health crisis for 6 years, and like really for the last since January, and it's now September. And things are moving fast, and it's making me very, very anxious. So I think this video really helps for anybody who's dealing with we could call it a crisis, but a decision or a thing that you're trying to move forward on, and you're having anxiety, and you're just feeling overwhelmed. And you sometimes just want to hide under a rock, or you like I use avoidance, or you're going into your kind of fear-centered way of being, and you're trying to be different. And I'm really trying to be different about this so that I can take care of my health. What I noticed today after I talked to the scheduler actually at my surgeon's office for an endoscopy, I started crying with her. And I'm like, why am I crying? I'm not somebody, okay, I can cry pretty easily, but I really am not somebody who cries a lot. I am very much like in control of what's happening around me. And I think that's a compensatory strategy. And every time I talk about this whole like possibility of having surgery, anytime I talk about anything that has to do with this situation right now with the vertical sleeve and not being able to eat and swallow and having throwing up issues, I like lose it. I cry like almost anytime I talk to anybody. And so when I talked to my coach, I was like, why am I having this feeling? And I think what I came up to was it's a lack of control, and it's feeling overwhelmed. And she gave me a really good visualization she said, it sounds like you hiked up this mountain, and you feel like you got to the top. And when you got to the top, you looked up and realized you were like, oh shoot, there's a whole nother mountain that I have to climb. And that's exactly the illustration that's in my mind that is working for me of like why I'm so triggered talking about this. And so if you find yourself being triggered around something, I know for me that was a good visualization of why I start crying and why I feel overwhelmed. And I don't know if you've ever been like on a hike or you've been somewhere and you feel like I've pushed and I pushed and I've pushed and I made it up to the hill. Cool, I'm done. And then you look and go, or I'm not done. And right now I think I feel physically tapped out because my body's not getting fed. I got my results from some more blood tests. My B1 literally says wasting anorexia. Like, I know it's anorexia because I'm not eating very much. And I'm tired all the time because I'm off coffee now. And so I'm wanting to sleep all the time. And I was using caffeine to just keep me going, which is not a healthy thing to do. So physically, I'm actually like physically tapped out. And now I am like needing to have so much energy to get to possible surgery by the end of the year. And I want to, if I have to have the surgery, which is looking that way, it needs to happen before the end of the year because of our medical insurance and also because of the way our schedules were wedding photographers, clearly. And when I have availability to have the surgery, but there's still like, it just feels like so much. So she and I chatted about that, and she said, why don't you make a roadmap so that you can kind of get to the next point? And something my grandfather, my Opa, used to say, and my mom passed it down, was, you know, when you're on a hike, looking at the very end, to the very last thing can be so overwhelming that it can be paralyzing. So instead, look at the next tree, hike to the next tree. Once you get to that tree, you celebrate that you made it there, and then go to the next tree. And I think that's the illustration that I'm going to make today. And each tree is going to be a hurdle or something that I need to overcome, or I need to, maybe not overcome, but I need to do in order to get to the end. And like this initial mountain for me that I just conquered was actually acknowledging, and I'm actually going to draw that because I'm very visual. So my initial mountain here was going to my PCP, primary care physician, and acknowledging the fact that there's a physical problem, that I'm not able to swallow as much. And I think your problem can be whatever it is. And then I got to the top of that hill, which was already exhausting and tapped me out emotionally. And then I looked up, and there's this giant mountain that I have to climb to get to the end. So far, this is my picture. Don't judge me. So you can see that's my little mountain there going to my, although that's a big mountain, by the way. We're going to say that's 4,000 feet that I climbed. Can we say 4,000 feet? Because that would make me feel really good. That was going to my primary care physician. And now I got to go all the way up. And it's so funny because before I went to my primary care physician, my fear was I don't want to have the Roux-en-Y. If you see my other videos, it's I don't want to have that. Now I'm recognizing that the Roux-en-Y, or also known as a gastric bypass, is probably a really good thing for me so I can get my quality of life back. Now, it's not after some of these other tests that have to be done, maybe we'll change our minds on that. But I'm just going to say the end, the top of my mountain, we're going to say is a fix. We'll just say, I can eat again. I can eat again. And I'm still assuming it's going to be a Roux-en-Y, which it is going to be a Roux-en-Y. But maybe it's not, right? Maybe after these tests, there will be another fix for it. But the top of my mountain is I can eat again. And I'm going to draw little trees, and each tree is something that I can celebrate and something that I can mark off my list of to do. And I don't know about you, but I like to have a lot of control over my life. I like to be able to project. I like to know what's going to happen in the future so I can make plans. And that's my safety. That's the way I've always been. And when I talk to my coach, her name's Jocelyn, so we'll just call her what she is, Jocelyn. There's different ways of being in situations. And that was a very hard concept for me to understand, is she always asks, well, how do you want to be in this situation? And I'm I don't know, because I only had one way of being, and that was being in control, which then led to paralysis and my actuating what I'm going to do. And I want to be different. And I want to be within, she taught me, my essence. Do I want to be kind of childlike and silly and have fun with it? Or do I want to be the CEO of my life, or even regal in my decisions and the way I handle situations? And I'm trying to be different. I'm not trying to be scared. I'm not trying to be inactive. I'm not trying to be hidden. I'm trying to be out there. I'm trying to project out there and help others. And I'm also trying to move in a direction to help myself, because I can't help others without helping myself. So in order for me to kind of have some semblance of control over the situation, but also visually be able to make it edible, so that I can consume what I need to do, so I can actually move on it, because I need to consume something, because it's not food right now. this visualization is going to help me, and hopefully it'll help somebody else too. So my first hurdle, or my first like task that I need to do, is I need to order my bariatric gummies. Now I had some people actually ask me about that, like, what are those bariatric gummies? And forgive me, because I did tell you guys that I was going to tell you what they are. I will leave a link in the bio this time. So they're from a bariatric source. But anyway, I need to order those bariatric gummies. And so I'm actually going to make a lot of trees, because I'm realizing that I need to be able to mark stuff off and be very proud of myself. So I was going to put like a few things on there, but like that's one thing. Number two, another tree. It's a little bit closer, like you can see. I'm going to say pick up. Now don't judge me, guys. My GERD medicine. So the order's been in. It's actually at my pharmacy, and I have yet to go over there and pick it up. That's an avoidance technique, and that is a little bit also due to my ADHD, because I forget. If it's not in front of my face, it does not exist. And so what do I need to do in order to be successful? I probably need to put an alarm on my phone that will remind me to actually go and do that. I don't know if you have ADHD, but like my ADHD is almost paralyzing, where I literally don't remember. And that is something I literally don't remember. So we're writing it down so that I can reach that tree and take a breath and celebrate. And then I can move to the next tree. Okay, so order my bariatric gummies, which I'm going to do at the end of today. I'm going to pick up my GERD medicine, which is like a Prilosec thing. You know what? I'm gonna put this as a tree just so I can mark it off. It's gonna go before. I'm gonna say buy protein I like, because I need to be able to feed my body. I'm not feeding my body, and I have to have at least 60 to 90 grams of protein. So I bought yesterday, look at, so you can see it's my little tree right here. So I'm gonna mark that tree off. I'm gonna put myself there. I'm gonna draw a little picture of myself, and she's smiling because this is Christina here, and she's at her first tree, and she drank 30 grams of protein this morning. Yay for me. I'm so proud of myself. Good job, Christina. And I think it's important that I like words of affirmation. That's my love language, and physical touch. So you can see I'm even touching myself. I'm recognizing that I have to hear myself say, hey, you're doing a really good job. Look at what you did. You bought protein and you drank your protein. Oh, and I even took my vitamin D today, put it under my tongue, a sublingual. And the only reason I did that is because I put it by the butter to make my kids eggs in the morning. So it was visually there, so I remembered to take it. That's how bad I am. So I'll have my little Christina, going up to each one of these trees till I reach that I can eat again. Okay, so we've got protein. I did that. I'm at my first tree. I've got to order bariatric gummies. I've got to pick up my GERD medication. Okay, so today, which was triggering, I called the surgeon's office because they've been trying to get a hold of me for my endoscopy. And it was triggering because when I talked to her, she was like, you need to have a COVID test 30 or 72 hours before you come in, and there's light sedation, and the doctor wants it ASAP. Okay, so those are 3 triggering things for me. That's another appointment I have to make on Sunday, which is already like me making an appointment. You would not think we run a business by my inability to like order gummies and take appointments, but that's very difficult for me. So I need to, I've already got it. See, I'm talking to you guys are helping me. I need to schedule my COVID test, right? I did schedule my endoscopy, which is next Wednesday. I'll let you guys know what that's like in case you want to know what an endoscopy is. So triggering. I'm not excited about having an endoscopy. Now, when I talked to Jocelyn, my coach, I was like, she's like, why is that triggering? Or I don't know how she said it. She's really great. But I realized it's triggering for me because I realize I have to rely on other people. And when you're a boss babe, such an annoying term, I know. But when you're somebody, I think kind of like me, runs businesses and does all these things, asking for help is crippling, and I hate it. And I'm starting to recognize not only is this triggering because I'm realizing I have to go up this hill, it's that it's triggering because I have to now, this part of the hill, I have to go up and I need help. I can't do all of this on my own. And I hate asking for help. If you're with me, please let me know if you hate asking for help. It's like my kryptonite. It's so embarrassing. I even thought, like, I'll just get an Uber. I'll get my endoscopy and I'll just go home on an Uber. My husband is not going to let me go home on an Uber. But around the time, it's also the time to pick up our kids. And I'm like, oh, that's so annoying. I don't want to like bother people, blah, blah, blah. So I have a million people who could pick me up. It's not like this issue, right? But this is so triggering for me. So I have to schedule my COVID test. I have to find a ride, which will probably be my husband, a ride home for Wednesday, right? Okay, I can do that. These are things. I'm glad. See, you know, just seeing these down, like written down here, as you know how even with the ADHD, the out of sight, out of mind, I think that's also what it is, where I was like trying to keep track of all these milestones and all these things, that maybe that's why it was becoming overwhelming, right? There was just too much to have to keep track of and hold. And then also knowing that I have to ask for help. I'm sorry, they're doing yard work outside, so you're gonna have to hear a little bit of annoying sounds. Okay, so then I get the man, I should have taken my ADHD medicine. I'm sorry, like sounds, all of it. Okay. So after I have my endoscopy, which is next week, that takes me into the middle of September. And then my next appointment is the esophageal mobility test. And that is not scheduled till October 28th. And originally I was told October 18th, and it's not till October 28th. So I'm gonna actually see if I can try to get that scheduled earlier. I've already put in a call to them. But I don't think, sorry, that's so loud. So I already have a call into the mobility place for the esophagus to see if they can get me in any earlier. But when I called today, they said I have an appointment with my surgeon on like November 8th. That's now putting us at the tail end of the year. And I think that's what was getting me spiraled of, will I even be able to have the surgery at the end of the year if that ends up being what needs to happen? Do we need to have the dismobility test in order to schedule the surgery? Like, what does all this look like? And I think what I've come to grips with is that I just put on here COVID test. I also need to have a blood draw. I think what's so overwhelming for me, or I think maybe what will help, is after this it's not esophagogram, the endoscopy, that's going to give us a lot of answers on what's going on in my esophagus. And I think once we see that, I think I can then put a message into my surgeon and just say, do we need to have the mobility test, or can we start scheduling surgery now? I'll still have the test. But like, can I get on your books for surgery for the Roux-en-Y if that's what needs to happen? Yeah. So where I'm at, I bought the protein. I need to order the bariatric gummies, pick up my GERD medication, schedule my COVID test, do my blood tests, and then find a ride for Wednesday. And then Wednesday I have to do the endoscopy. So that'll be the next endoscopy. And then I'm trying to think of like, what are my next hurdles? I mean, after the endoscopy, there's going to be obviously the mobility test. And then my doctor's appointment to schedule, I will just say a fix, because I don't necessarily want to call it the Roux-en-Y, because maybe it'll be something else, right? And something else I talked with Jocelyn is I feel like I also need to put the rocks or the things that are gonna get in my way, and put more tests here just so you can kind of see of where I'm at, what it looks like here. What are some rocks? What are some things what are some like little lions that might jump out at me when I'm climbing this hill and trying to reach each one of these trees? And I think finances is one rock. I'm gonna put rocks here. I could draw them, but I didn't make this too big. So I'm just making rocks here. I'm going to say finances, because I don't know how much all this is going to cost me. I think, you know, my big rock is, you guys, it's, I want to make sure that I'm available for my clients, for our clients, right? I need to be able to do these shoots, and we have weddings and all this kind of stuff. So one of my big concern is we'll say clients. And it's not that they're a concern, it's just I want to be there for their weddings, and I need to schedule my surgery around that time. And that's what's, I think that's I know that's one of my biggest anxieties, and why I push this off so much is that I don't want to not be available to help clients and be there to photograph their weddings. And the other one I think is fear. I have some trauma around surgery. I have had a few different surgeries. I've had a hysterectomy, and then obviously I had the vertical sleeve gastrectomy, and both of those were, I mean, they weren't terrible to get over. I got over them, but you know, it takes a while, and then got all these rules, and then I got and so there's a fear, I think, of surgery. But there's also a fear of what it's going to be like to have a Roux-en-Y, to what it's like for a bypass. And I've said this before, I never wanted a bypass, ever. That was never my goal. And I never thought that having a vertical sleeve, that I thought that would be the end, you know? I didn't think that I would ever have to then have a bypass. And according to my surgeon, it's happening. It happens not all the time, but it happens on a fairly regular basis for people over 5 years vertical sleeve. So because of the reflux, it's a big deal, and I think it's good to know. Still would do the surgery over and over and over again. It was really, really good for me. But I never really looked into what life was like with a bypass, and what I could eat, and dumping syndrome and all that kind of stuff. I just never wanted to do that. So maybe that's a hurdle, right, guys? I'll do that as that's a fear, but so then how can I address that fear with a goal, right? So that will be research, Roux-en-Y, which, I mean, I've done that, Roux-en-Y. But maybe finding some YouTube channels or people that have Roux-en-Ys and maybe talking with them. I know 2 people in my life who I care about deeply that both just had Roux-en-Ys in the last couple of years. So maybe having lunch with them and chatting with them and see what their life is like might be helpful for me. If you've had a Roux-en-Y, let me know. If you've had any fixes, from a vertical sleeve to a Roux-en-Y, I'd love to hear how life is different. And this might be what this channel becomes. But honestly, I want this channel though to help and give people other tools, and just also knowledge of what it's like, and just kind of a real face to weight loss surgery. I feel like a lot of videos, and I was guilty of it. Oh, I'm not even guilty, but it's just kind of all about look, I've lost weight, I've lost weight, I've lost weight, I've lost weight, I've lost weight. Look how skinny I am. Which is great. I mean, that's why we all get the surgery, right? But there's also so many other components because you don't have your stomach removed or rerouting done unless you have some major issues around food and why we're using food. So this is just so multifaceted. It's just so fascinating. And I think that that's maybe why this is such a big hill for me, is because we're addressing something that is so personal and so deep rooted in my being, food, and how I deal with food, and how food interacts in my daily life, and how it was a tool, or it was a reward system. And when you start messing around with your anatomy because you have an inappropriate relationship with what is helping you live and function mentally, it's very, very difficult. So thank you for coming along with me and doing this homework with me. I'm kind of proud of myself. So I'm going to, there's little Christina, there she is with her little mohawk, and she's going to travel up, and she's going to be excited for each one of her little trees And at the very end of this mountain is going to be a fix, whatever that fix might be. And we don't necessarily know what that fix is going to be. And I'm excited for you guys to travel this little journey with me, because I'm not doing this alone, and I for sure need help with this, because I need some help. I need some encouragement. I need some tips. I need I need friends. I need a support system. I need to know that as much as I like to be there for other people, other people are excited to be there for me. And I really appreciate all the comments and all the encouragement, because it's really, really helped me. And I adore the bariatric community. I feel like it's a very encouraging and loving community. There's some spiteful people in there, but usually people who are spiteful are usually just dealing with their own devils, and they're dealing with their own demons, and they're dealing with their own self-hate and self-loathing and frustrations. And this is a journey for all of us. So even when you see hate, try to love on those people, because they're usually the ones hurting the most inside their hearts. So love you guys. You're welcome to come with me. Maybe I'll put a few videos. I'll put like a compilation video of me doing my COVID test, blood test, and then the endoscopy. And then I'll put that together in the next video for next week. So I'll be chatting with you. Bye guys.